All right. Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Los.
What's going on with you guys? It's your boy Jo. We are coming back at y'all. We got a special guest with us. As you can see, we got Molly Davis, former Central Michigan guard, Iowa guard, superstar, legend, legendary player. I mean, you might know her from her headband.
Yeah.
She made a name for herself out there. So we are truly appreciative to have you on with us today. How you
Yeah.
doing,
Thank
Molly? How you
you.
doing?
Really excited. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Absolutely. We know
Well,
we know you're a tough person to get. So we was like we really got it. We got to lock in and get this Molly interview going.
yeah, it took us
Uh,
a while
yeah,
to get.
no, we've been going back and forth for quite a while, but so I'm glad we finally, setting
Heck
this date
yeah.
and we're getting to it. No, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get right into it, Molly. We want to know who is the first person to put a basketball in your hands.
That definitely my dad.
Okay.
Growing up, I mean, I've always been involved in sports. He was my coach. I was always a coach's kid. So he was my coach, growing up, and he was the first person to put a ball in my hands, and he had been training me ever since I was young, and I'm definitely the reason I am the player that I am today, because of him. So he's amazing, and he's been my coach all my life, and yeah, he's been awesome and wouldn't be the player that I am without him.
That's dope. What age was that when you first started playing?
Shoot, probably from the time I can remember me walking, honestly. I played on my brother's team. He's 2 years older. I played at my brother's team at the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, that's the earliest memory that I have, and I don't even think I was in kindergarten yet at that point. So pretty early on. Yeah, so you said your brother played as well. Were there a lot of backyard driveway games going on? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it got to the point we would always play one on one, and it got to the point where my dad banned us from playing one on one because we'd get in so many fights, and someone would end up getting hurt. We'd be throwing the ball at each other.
That explains
I'm
the
definitely a little
toughness.
bit of
I was just
yeah,
about to say
yeah,
that's where that toughness comes from right there.
yeah.
Playing with
He's
guard.
yeah, definitely had some good battles. That's awesome. That's dope.
Was there any other sports you
Yeah.
played growing up, or was it always just basketball, or what?
Mainly basketball. But I also played softball. I think that was the other one up until around eighth grade. I was a
Okay.
catcher. Did not enjoy it in those
I,
hot summer days. But
that's interesting because I look at you as pretty athletic. I would have had you on first or third or shortstop or something.
yeah, no, I was a catcher, man. I didn't enjoy it. I wish I was out there on the field.
No,
But yeah. And then I also played a little bit of soccer. I think I played that for 1 year. Ran track for
I
a
feel like
year or
soccer
two.
is like that one sport like every kid gets put into at a super early age. And you
Yeah,
realize at an early age whether this is what you're gonna what you're gonna be into or not.
yeah, yeah. I did not have a choice. I did not want to play. But yeah, I mean, I dabbled. I had a little bit of experience in just about every sport, but basketball's always been my main sport and something that I've always enjoyed.
Dope. That's dope. So at what point did you realize like, okay, I can be like a D1 player?
Honestly, like it wasn't till I got my first offer, and that was from Central Michigan. I think I was in eighth grade. But up
That's
until that
really
point, like I was just playing the game because I loved it. I didn't have any dreams of like, oh, like I want to go D1, I want to do this or that. I was just playing the game because I enjoyed it. And I ended up getting that first offer. I was like, oh, I can actually do something with this.
no, that's
But
dope.
yeah, it wasn't until I got my first offer where I realized, yeah, like I can
And
probably do something.
and there's something you said right there before we go on just really quickly that for anybody listening, watching, what she said is the key to achieving things you never thought was possible. She played for the love
Mhm.
of the game.
Yeah,
And through that love of the game came opportunity. So,
yeah,
and that's how that works. A lot of people nowadays, especially, they're like, okay, well, I need this and I need it right now. Like,
Yeah.
And they kind of overlook all of the steps that go into that and the process that goes into that. So I just wanted to highlight that real quick. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. I think that's super important.
funny, you were like, you said, I didn't know until I got my first offer. You're like, oh, yeah, I got in the eighth grade. Like, that's pretty early to get your first offer, like from a D1 school. Like, I thought you were going to say, like, yeah,
Yeah.
like 11th, late 11th grade, maybe 12th. Like,
That's
no,
what
you
I
got
that's
your
what
first
I was
offer in
thinking.
eighth grade. I was like, oh, wow. That is not what
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was
Pretty
a,
damn
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
And so take us through like your recruiting process in high school. Like you got your first offer in eighth grade from Central Michigan. You obviously ended up going to Central Michigan, so
Yeah.
really meant a lot to you. But what other
Yeah.
schools were looking at you, and what happened with that recruiting process?
To be honest, like my recruiting process was really short.
Okay.
I'd gotten that offer eighth grade. I think it was eighth grade going into my freshman year. It was that summer of
Mhm.
high school, and I think I ended up committing a year later.
Okay. She wasn't
So
taking
my
no
process,
chances. I'm going here.
I was, yeah. So I had an offer. There was two other MAC schools. It was Western Michigan and Toledo. Those
Okay.
were the three offers that I had at that point. And then I just knew, like at that point, like I knew that I wanted to stay close to home. I always went to just about every Central Michigan game that I could because it was just down, it was 45 minutes away from where I
Okay.
lived. So I knew that that was super important to me. Um, and so I ended up committing a year later and obviously turned out pretty well for those 3 years.
Pretty
But
well. Pretty well.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
yeah, but it was like my
Understatement.
dream school.
Yeah.
For me, that was like my dream school, and I knew that, I wanted to go there, and so I was like, why waste any more time?
So I got a quick question. As far as, and this is just kind of a general question for anybody in your shoes, but getting
Yeah.
that first offer fresh out of middle school, going into high school, how are you feeling? What is your confidence level at like going into
Yeah.
your freshman year of high school, knowing like I already got D1 offers? Like
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yeah. I feel like it's a little different now because I think now you kind of see it a little bit more often.
Hmm.
But at that point I was like, I don't even know what this means. Like, what does this mean? Like,
I mean, you nice.
stuff like but obviously, it's a confidence booster and you're like, you build that confidence and be like, yeah, like I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna, I felt like I earned it too. So just continuing to work hard and knowing that, trying to play Division 1 is, it's not an easy thing to do. So just continuing to work hard. Sorry, my kid's in the way here.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
So
I'm
just
sure at some point my dog's gonna come over here and bother me, so no worries.
but yeah, certainly a confidence booster, but also like right back to it and knowing that, you still got to work hard and still got to earn it because it can be gone just like that.
No, for sure. For sure.
So
Yeah.
in high school, what parts of your game would you say you worked on as like a small guard to like prepare you to go
Yeah.
for the next level?
Yeah, that was the most important thing for me is kind of being crafty. As a, small undersized guard, you kind of got to do things that, to give you a little bit of an advantage in something because, you can't just go into the lane and,
Put it up. You
shoot
can't
a
just put
layup
it up there.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. You got to find those crafty ways. And I think that's where my floater came from too.
Mhm.
Just always playing against people that were, bigger and stronger than me, is something that I certainly worked on. And knowing that, to play at the Division 1 level, you got to find those, crafty ways. So crafty ways to finish at the rim over taller defenders.
It's
Yeah.
crazy you say the floater because when I seen your floater, I had like immediately like flashback to like Tony Parker
Yeah.
because the way when you get into the lane, like your head's
Yeah.
still on a swivel, but I feel like you're gonna float it, but you're just like
Yeah.
the eyes are keeping the defense like on their toes a little bit for a second, and then you go ahead
Yeah.
up with the quick float. But I remember my
Yeah.
first time seeing it, especially in person, I was like, yeah, she's giving me Tony Parker vibes in that paint right now.
Yeah.
So no, no, the floater is
Yeah.
legendary for sure.
Your floater is
Yeah.
real
It seems
soft.
it seems like it's such a go ahead.
I was saying your floater is real soft. Like you just, lay it up there and it just falls
Yeah.
in. Like
Yeah. It
it's
seems like such a simple move, but I mean it's hard
Mhm.
to kind of, perfect that. And you seem like, you're just right at the rim. But just have that touch and it certainly takes a lot of practice.
No, the touch for sure. Because when you're shooting a floater, most people don't understand. You're not looking to use the backboard. It's not like you're
Yeah.
aiming for the square. It's not a fundamental like
Right.
layup. This is I am in the lane and I'm using different maneuvers to get this up. Like I might have to float it up from the side a little bit, or I might have
Right.
to, I'm floating it right over the rim, or I have a hand coming. Like there's a lot that goes
Yeah.
into deciding how you're gonna get this floater up. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It's definitely a skill. It's 100% a skill.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
Molly's, being real, bashful about it. Like she's like, oh yeah, I was kind of crafty. Like there's different type of small guards. There's the ones that like are real defensive and like energy, and you do bring, energy and stuff like that. But you got buckets. Like when you were at Central Michigan,
Yeah.
you were getting buckets. I'm assuming you were getting buckets in high school. Like so, it's a difference when like you're a small guard and you can score because you have to fit. Like you said, it does take craftiness, but it takes toughness. It takes just like being a
Yeah.
dog. Honestly, like you have to be a dog to be a small guard
Yeah.
or especially at the D1 level to score the amount of points that you scored, like you got to be like you have to have scoring in you kind of. So, I mean,
Yeah.
props to you because like you as somebody like your size to score that much at the D1 level, like it's really tough. And I feel like, a lot of fans know you for what you did at Iowa and like your, the role you
Hmm.
played. Like before that, you were really like, one of
Man, was
Yeah.
nobody guard. Come on, Molly was
yeah, yeah.
guardable.
I was looking at the stats and everything, and I have them right here. We'll get to all the stats and everything. I was like, damn, if Molly would have stayed there, she would have been the best player to ever go there. Like that's the type of like trajectory you had. Like you
Bro,
would have been
Yeah.
number one
I'm watching the
in all the
tape.
major categories.
I remember when Jalen a couple days ago, I was like, all right, let me lock into some research. I'm pulling it up on YouTube. I'm watching some tape. I said, Molly, that's you? Come on, man. What is that? This is league worthy material right here. Like, what? This
Oh,
is
yeah.
crazy. Like, you
Molly's
nah,
tough as
serious
a
That's
bucket
champ,
getter,
man.
funny.
Like
serious bucket
crazy.
getter.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But yeah.
Yes, well, before we get to the college stuff, I just want to, help some other small guards. What's some stuff that you would tell other small guards similar to your size trying to play at the next level? What would you tell them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the little things that matter. And I think like those hustle plays, as small guards, those are super important. And then also just reiterating what I said earlier is being crafty and finding different ways to, finish at the rim, whether it's, working on your shot, being a consistent shooter, but also, finding different ways to score over taller defenders, jump stop, ball fake. Those type of details are super important, especially for smaller guards. And I would 100% always recommend, first thing I would say is develop a floater for any small undersized guard to play at any level. That'd be my first advice.
Okay. Let me take notes. I have a daughter. She's 2 right now. I've been telling Jalen since she came out the womb. We are in training. So see, I'm about 6 foot. Her mom's about 5'4" though. So we're looking at about
Yeah,
5'8". Okay, floater. Let me make this quick note. All right.
floater. Yeah,
Okay, floater. We
That's
gonna
that's for that's really for any guard because once you get to any sort of level that you
yeah,
want to play at, like as a guard, you're going to be smaller than the big, so you need a floater.
yeah,
But yeah, small guards, especially, like you definitely need that floater.
no, for
Um,
sure.
yeah.
who were some of your favorite players growing up?
Kobe Bryant. I've
Bean.
always I just loved his mentality for the
Yeah,
game, his love of the game, his work ethic. It's something that I've even tried to incorporate, just the way that he goes about the game, his mentality. And then I love Maya Moore. Watched her all the time, growing up and what she did at UConn and then very successful in the WNBA as well. I've always loved her. So those are the two people that I absolutely admired and loved growing up.
Crazy story. So Maya Moore played high school probably about 20 minutes from where I live right now. And in 8th grade, I went to the state championship women's game and she was playing in it for Collins Hill. And I've never in my life seen, and male or female at this point. And my men's team in high school, I was in 8th grade, but we had a player on our team named Lorenzo Brown. He just started in the Olympics for Spain. And at that point, that was the greatest player I ever seen with my own 2 eyes. And then I go to this state championship game, and Maya Moore is the female Kobe in my eyes. Like I've never seen nothing like this in my whole life. Like she is unstoppable. So I seen her senior year of high
Yeah.
school play, and like Maya Moore was unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she won at every single level that she was at.
Yeah,
But yeah,
unbelievable.
I absolutely loved her and admired her game growing up. She's just amazing.
that's dope. What's your favorite? What was your favorite shoe to hoop in?
Mm.
Shoot, Kobe's. It's the Kobe 8s.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, I think,
We,
yeah, those
we,
my absolutely my all-time favorite. I
okay.
think I had about 5 pairs of those shoes from when I 5 different ones from when I was in high school. Um,
Damn. Jack, she was going through them. She was going through them. Like,
yeah,
Only wearing one shoe though.
yeah, no. And in AAU, those were always the shoes I loved to hoop in, and then it was any Kobe's honestly, but those were my favorite.
was Central Michigan a Nike or Adidas school?
Adidas.
I thought so. I thought they were an Adidas
Yeah.
school.
I wore Harden Volume 3s.
Okay. I like the
Were
Hardens.
really the only shoe that I liked. So I wore the same exact pair
Okay.
um, for majority of my career at CMU.
Okay.
So once I
Okay.
find something, I stick to it.
No, no.
Speaking of that, that leads into the headband thing. We got to talk about the
Yeah.
headband thing. So
Uh-huh.
tell us when it started, like take us back. I heard it started back in the day. So take us back to when that started.
Yeah, so I think I've worn a headband, ever since I started playing. But this specific headband that I wear at Iowa, I've been wearing since sophomore year or junior year of high school.
Okay.
It is the same exact one. The I so it was a Under Armour headband. Had the Under Armour logo up top. And then obviously when I got to CMU, Adidas, so I can't wear that. So my dad cut the Under Armour logo out and then sewed it back together.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And so
That's
that's been the
cool.
same headband. And then every time it stretches out, my dad cuts it up, cuts a little piece out, sews it back together so it's tighter and fits perfectly.
Man, shout
Uh,
out to Pops,
Yeah,
man.
that's
I
serious. That's
know
dope.
he's the man behind it. He does everything.
So,
Shout out to
okay,
Pops.
Uh,
I was thinking about this like as a hooper in my head. I'm like, all right, the first time you wore that headband, you must have went crazy or something to like make you be like, I gotta wear it again. Because hoopers are superstitious. Like I would wear the same compression shorts. So like, what happened? Like that made you want to be
yeah,
like, I gotta wear this again.
I don't think it was like a crazy game or anything like that, but I just wore it for like a year straight. And then my dad would be like, all right, try this one. And I'm just like, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel the
Yeah.
same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've tried like different headbands. I'm just like, it just doesn't feel the same.
Okay.
So I
That's
think it's
fair.
like the comfort of it. It's not, I don't know that it's a superstition.
It's
But
almost
it's just,
like a child and their teddy bear.
yeah,
Not a super.
yeah,
You just like having it around. It gives you a
yeah.
sense of peace, a sense of
Yeah.
comfort. Like, whew,
Really.
okay, I'm good. I can go out here and drop 30 now. Like,
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah.
Did you ever anticipate like your headband taking on like a life of its own like that?
No, absolutely not. It's crazy to see like how far like that's gone. And like this Twitter page that has its
Yeah.
own Twitter account. Like that's crazy. I'm pretty sure it has more followers than I do. Like it's just insane. Like every time I see someone like, "Oh, headband, you're the headband, the one that wears the headband." So I think it's really cool, and I've kind of I've owned it, and it's really awesome to see. That's
Nice.
kind of a way for them to support me, and it's kind of cool to see where that's gone.
I don't know if you have any or if you can get us any. I need a headband Molly bobblehead for my setup.
All right, I'll see what I can do. I don't know that. I'll see what I can do. I
And
don't know if there's any
if
out
it
there.
isn't in the works, I'll figure that part out and I'll get
All
you
right,
one. But I'm gonna get me a headband Molly bobblehead. I
Small.
need that.
You think
all
it's
right.
small. Today, I had a dream that we had an SSN Molly Davis headband collab. Like, I really was like, yo, I was really like thinking deep, man.
Let me reach out to my
Yeah.
people.
Like,
All right.
That'll be dope. That'll be dope.
so yeah, I want to get to your time at Central Michigan. So we're gonna give you your
Yeah.
flowers. So give me a second because I'm gonna list out like all your, achievements and accomplishments. So you were first two-time second team All MAC, one-time first team All MAC. You led them to a MAC championship and an NCAA berth. So you are the points per game leader at Central Michigan at 17.8 points per game. You're 10th all-time in points with 1,438, which is crazy. You did that in 3 seasons. First in minutes per game in a season, which with 36.7.
Damn.
Eighth in field goal percentage. Eighth in three-pointers made. Fourth in effective field goal percentage for the stat nerds. Third in assists per game. Sixth in total assists. 8th in PER, 3rd in true shooting percentage, and 2nd in usage percentage.
That sound like the CMU GOAT right there. That's what that sound like. That sound like the
Man, like
CMU GOAT right there.
Uh,
I'm sitting there,
man, I don't even
I'm
I
writing
didn't
all
even
this
know all
down.
that.
Molly, see, I'm writing all this down. I'm like, hold on. In 3 seasons, she did this. I was like, hold on. So if she'd have played one more, you feel me, extra Kobe, you would have been the best player to ever go there. That's what I was like, damn. Like, she would have been the best
Uh,
player to ever go
And
there.
they're top 10 in all categories. That's
Literally, like
crazy.
I was like, yeah, like
That's
this would have.
crazy.
Hey, so shout out to you
So
because you really did your thing when you was at Central Michigan. You said
you
that was your
wrecked
first
shop
school. You
at
went
Central
there and you
Michigan.
did
That's
everything
crazy.
you could have dreamed of.
yeah, I appreciate it. Well, I didn't even know all that. So news to me.
Oh man. This
So
is what
just
I'm
tell
talking about. Molly just so like I went up in
Uh,
there.
I
I
was
gave
just out
I
there
gave I gave
hooping.
everybody 20 a game. I gave
I
Uh,
was
everybody
just out there hooping, like just had a good
uh,
time. Like, okay. Meanwhile, you have like damn near every like record is crazy. So tell
we
us what that experience
yeah.
was like.
Yeah. Well, so my freshman year and sophomore year, like we had a really good team. Like I know the stats and everything. Like I was surrounded by great people, great players. And then my freshman year, I think we ended up winning the MAC the regular season. And then obviously the COVID thing happened. Um, but that was, a good freshman season for me, but I mean our team was great. Like the year before, they had won the MAC championship. I think they made it to the Sweet 16. They lost a few key pieces, but we had a lot of returners from that team. So I was very grateful to have been a part of that team. Definitely wouldn't have had the season that I did without those players on the team. And then going into my sophomore season, which I think individually was the best season for me. But then again, we didn't lose anyone from the season before. So again, surrounded by really good players. And we actually had the MAC Player of the Year on our team, Michaela Kelly. She averaged like 23. I think she was drafted in the WNBA that year too. So I was surrounded by so many
That's
good
crazy.
players. We ended up winning the MAC that year again too. But I mean,
You know
like
how
those
hard it is
stats
in
mean
college
nothing without my
basketball for two
teammates.
players to average 20 on the same team. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that girl's name
Yeah.
was on the list too, next to yours on a lot of.
Yeah. She is different. Like
That's
she's
crazy.
probably one of the best players that I've played with, and her leadership too. As a guard, especially my freshman season, being able to play alongside Michaela and like her leadership. Like I wouldn't be the person or the player that I was at Central Michigan, without her. So
Shout
I'm
out Michaela
really
one
blessed
time.
to
Shout
be
out
able to.
Michaela one time. If you are watching this, shout you out, Michaela.
Yes.
You helped birth a legend. So shout out,
Yeah,
shout,
absolutely.
that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, no, she's awesome.
I do have a just a quick kind of quick kind of offshore question, but 45 minutes from the
Yeah,
house, right? Central Michigan.
yeah,
So I know Pops was at every home game.
absolutely.
Okay. So after these
Yeah.
games, does he still wear his coaching hat a little bit? Like, hey, I seen this out there. Hey, you did that out there.
To be honest, like not unless I ask.
Okay. That's good. That's
He
again good
knows
advice
me.
for me.
He might throw some suggestions in here and there. But he knows me in the way I'm wired is like I critique myself a lot and I'm like,
Okay.
I should have done this, I should have done that. Um, so he's kind of like my outlet of like venting and like he's like, well,
That's dope.
he only gives advice if I ask and he just knows. He
That's
knows how I am.
he puts on his dad hat. That's fair. I
Yeah.
respect that. I
Yeah,
respect
it's
that.
more of the dad hat, not the coach hat. But yeah, if I ask, he'll definitely give me some advice.
So you're putting in work at CMU. Your brother is playing college basketball. Are you guys playing simultaneously? Like he's in college the same time you're in college?
Yeah, so he's 2 years ahead of me.
Okay.
So
Was
so
there
freshman and
ever
sophomore
any
season.
one college one-on-ones? Was there did that ever happen?
No.
He was scared. He was be honest.
Once
He was a little scared.
no. Like once we got in college, like no, like I think we were just more supportive than anything else.
That's
Like when
great.
we'd work out together, absolutely.
Okay.
We had like one of the same trainers. But there was no one-on-ones because we all knew how it ended.
He saw that dub at CMU. Said, "Look, I'm gonna have to get physical, and
No,
I don't
no, no,
want to get
no, no,
physical.
no, no.
I don't want to get
No.
physical, but I'm gonna have to get physical because she got too nice."
Yeah. Yeah, he would be backing me down on the post
Yeah,
and like just score over. He's obviously a lot stronger, more athletic, and I'm just like, there's nothing I can do. This
you
isn't
got
even fun for
you
me.
You
got it
gotta
up
get
here
ball
though.
first.
Yeah.
So
But
okay. So your junior year, right? You guys make it to the tournament, right? Or is that your sophomore year?
that was sophomore year.
Okay, and that's when you guys played Iowa.
Yes, sophomore year. Yep.
Yeah, you scored 18 points that game, and then your junior year you transferred to Iowa.
See, it's
Junior year,
you were
senior year, I transferred to
Yeah.
Iowa, so I had one more
Okay.
year at CMU,
Mhm.
which was a struggle for us as a team. And then that's after that, going into my senior season is when I transferred to Iowa.
And what went into that process of deciding to go to Iowa? Like, I know you scored 18 points on. Did they hit you up after that? Like, yo, you kind of we see
Yeah.
how good you was. We want you to, join us.
James
Yeah.
Jensen slid in that DM. Don't do that. Come on now.
Yeah, now let me know some of the coaches. I know one of them didn't. Nah,
Um, but my decision to enter the transfer portal, I just had to prioritize myself, and I wasn't happy with where I was at. And so obviously I entered, and then when I entered the portal, I didn't have any idea of like where I wanted to go. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go, to a Power Five school. Like I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was kind of just taking it. I was going on visits, and Coach Reina, obviously assistant at Iowa, had
Woo!
reached
Shout
out to
out Coach
me.
Rainer one time,
And
man. Shout out Coach
shout
Rainer.
out Coach Reina because I probably wouldn't be at Iowa if it wasn't for her.
Coach
So
Rainer.
very thankful for her. But we knew each other because she was an assistant at CMU when I was being recruited. Um, but she had reached. That's why we knew each other. She had reached out. It was like, hey, we're looking for a backup point guard. Are you interested? And obviously, I said yes, and went on a visit, and um, you know, made a decision from there. But yeah, no, I'm very shout out Coach Reina because I probably wouldn't be at Iowa if it wasn't for her, and very blessed for the opportunity to play at such an amazing university with a great culture.
yeah, shout out Coach Rand. It's the first
Anytime
person
I
I actually met
anytime I
when
hear
I went
Iowa,
to Iowa.
I get the chills from being in Carver. I swear. I still get them chills.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool place to be in, man. Tell us about the experience of just playing at Carver.
Yeah. I mean, at CMU, we were playing obviously smaller arena, but we were playing in front of maybe 1,000, just over 1,000 a game.
Mhm.
And so then I went to Iowa and I was like, first game, I'm like, holy crap, man. Like,
Whoa.
this is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but it is awesome, a great experience. I mean, I think Hawk fans are the best fans in the world. They're so supportive, and whether it's home or away, it feels like we're always on
At
our home
home.
turf.
Yeah.
They travel so well.
We see that
Um,
live and up in person. Like, yeah, like it
yeah,
could be an away game, but it's a home game,
it's
especially when
yeah,
Jalen's
it
on the
always
court.
feels
Like, it's a home game.
yeah, it always feels like a home game. But Carver's just an unreal experience, and I'm blessed that I was able to play there
Yeah.
for 2 years.
What
No,
was it
that's
like
dope.
adjusting like your role from like being at Central Michigan where you were, having the ball a lot, and then you go to Iowa.
Yeah,
You said you signed up to be the backup point guard. Obviously, you ended up starting a
yeah.
lot of games, but you had a completely different role.
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew that going in. Coach Blair was honest with me, and saying like, "Hey, like we're recruiting you for a backup role." And I knew that going into it, and so I think that's what made it a little bit easier. So I knew that going into it, but also I was like, "Yeah, regardless, I'm going to work as hard as I can, and whatever happens, happens." But obviously, it was a little bit of obviously a mentality shift. I wasn't having the ball in my hands 24, all the time like I was at Central Michigan. So kind of just learning to play off the ball a little bit was super important for me, and was one of the biggest adjustments, that I had to make.
Yeah.
And I think that what you said something there, and I think that's a lot of things that coaches can do nowadays, especially with there being so much flexibility in the portal and there being NIL money and all this stuff going on now, right? is setting the expectation, because it allowed you to have time to come in and and shift your mentality and figure out how you can help impact this team in a positive way. And a lot of times, coaches are just promising you anything to get you in the uniform.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and shout out to Coach Bluter, legend. But I
Yeah.
think that's really cool that, they set an expectation and you come in there and you exceed expectation, obviously. But
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing a lot of coaches can take away, is being truthful and honest and transparent in that recruiting process.
And like you said,
Absolutely.
like you said with Coach Bluter, I think she you see the way she set up their team, and like I don't know what is the word I'm looking for? The what's the
The
word I'm
system, the organization,
Yeah,
the
culture. There we
the
go.
culture.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry. So the culture she like built, there's a lot of people who just like starred in their roles. And I feel like that's what made your
Hmm.
team so great. It's like everybody was like a star in the role that they played, and it made like the machine just go so much better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You were a superstar in your role and what you did. And like
Yeah.
there's a lot of games where I'm like, damn, I wish Molly would shoot more, or like be more aggressive.
Yeah.
No, you're playing your
Jalen
role.
used to text me and be like, "Bro, Molly has to go with it. I don't care if they
I'm like,
got so
it's
Molly has to
okay.
go." Like,
Damn floater, little shot. She got the floater. No, but
Uh,
there was so many times where I'm like, I know Molly could like score more because we've seen
yeah.
like she's a scorer, she can do that. But I know that you're playing your role and you're doing what's best for the team, so you're kind of picking your
Yeah.
spots. And it was great to see like in games where you get those like 18 points, 14 points, where you're still able to show
Yeah.
your game, but it's in spots and it's in moments because you're not getting like 20 shots a game, 19 shots a game. You're
Yeah.
getting like 8 to 12, if that, like 4 or 5 sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Absolutely.
it was
so
awesome
it's
to see like you, Kate, Martin, Stokey, like all these players who are like, owning their roles.
so I was gonna say, and speaking, you mentioned Kate Martin, and speaking with her, I just want to hear like your perspective on the last couple of years being in Iowa Hawkeye. Like, what was that experience in itself like? Because you guys are moving around like the Beatles. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to talk to Molly and Kate and Caitlin and Hannah Stolke, and you guys are just the Beatles at this
Yeah.
point. So, what was that experience like, especially coming from CMU to
Yeah.
now it's just all the time. It's constant.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like looking back on it, um, it's so crazy. Like you'd walk into the arena. There's a lot. We walk into our game. We're like buses pulling up 2 hours before the game. Like there's a line out the door. Um, so it's just like crazy. It's like little things like that. And you're like, wow. And like sometimes in the moment you don't even realize it. It kind of like just feels normal.
Mhm.
But then like when you look back on it, and now that like I'm not playing anymore, I look back on it and I'm like, holy crap. It was just like crazy to be a part of a team, and play alongside some amazing players where all these people like wanted to come watch us play. So being a part of it, like surreal experience. Like if you told me 2 years ago before I came to Iowa, like this would be, a reality for me, I'd be telling you you're crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a surreal experience, and I'm blessed and grateful to have been part of like a successful team and culture like that for 2 years.
It's like you're looking around, there's like superstars, you got ESPN, you got like there's every
Yeah.
stuff you couldn't dream about. And you and your team, like you're part of like the shift in like how people view women's basketball. And now it's like a cool thing, and like the games are sold out and like the numbers are
Yeah.
high. Like it's cool that I'm assuming for you that like you were part of that, something that special.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. To be a part of a team that, kind of changed the game a little bit. Obviously, Caitlin, being the centerpiece around that, but just to like watch her flourish, and be alongside of her and all of her success, and to see how much just to play a little bit of a part into how this game has grown, is really cool.
And I'm glad you brought up Caitlin, because what I realized your senior year was you ended up starting, and that
Yeah.
allowed Caitlin to move off the ball a little more
Yeah.
with having another playmaker and ball handler on the floor. And I
Yeah.
noticed early in the season how many open shots Caitlin and Gabby and Kate and Sydney were getting. You guys, there were so many open shots. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a great move from the coaching staff, inserting you to be in that backcourt with Caitlin, because having two playmakers out there, two essentially point guards that understand the game at a high level,
Right.
I think it allowed the team to feast off of that. So I thought that was really dope. The seeing you two play together, just seeing
Yeah.
Caitlin operate without the ball and seeing
Yeah.
you kind of get everybody where they need to be. And just have you had games where you had 6 assists, 8 assists through throughout the
Yeah.
season. So I thought that was really cool to see how it turned from that junior year to that senior year, where it was like, okay, this is like it was a well-oiled machine before. This
Yeah.
right here is a super machine. Like
Yeah.
they got everything now. Like there's nothing they're
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah. I think like the jump from my junior or the my senior season to my fifth year, I think the confidence played a little bit of a factor too. Like knowing the system a little bit more. And then I feel like I've always been capable of being a little bit of a playmaker.
Mhm.
But having the confidence to actually do that, I think you kind of saw that in the fifth
Absolutely.
year, versus my senior season.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So with all
Yeah.
of the attention and stuff that you guys got, was it like, everybody deals with it differently. Some people like the
Yeah.
attention, some people kind of shy away from it.
Yeah.
Was there ever moments where it's like too much, or did you enjoy it, or how did you deal with it?
Not really. I don't ever think it was too much. Just speaking from my perspective, I know there's probably other people that had a lot more attention and things like that, but from my perspective, I don't think it was ever too much. I'm not big on the social media place, so I think
We
that kind
know, we
of
know.
yeah. So I think that kind of benefited me, and
Absolutely.
not paying attention so much to that. But I always think it's cool when like fans come up. You're in the grocery store. Just things like that. I always think it's cool and kind of puts things into perspective. And I was once in their shoes.
Mhm.
So I just think it's cool and I think it's really cool. And it was never like never too much or anything like that.
But
I've
I
always
feel
kind
like
of
that's
enjoyed it.
like that right there is what makes like a great point guard. Just even. You're never too up, never too
Yeah,
down. You stay right here and you ride whatever wave you're on. And it's just like you're looking around like, okay, camera, light, camera, cool, cool, cool. All right. And then when there's
Yo,
no camera, you're
yeah,
like, all right, no camera, cool. Like it's all the
yeah,
same. It's all the same. And you
yeah,
just kept a narrow perspective and just like, you know what, I'm here to ball. I'm here to hoop.
yeah,
I'm here to make the team better and do what I can to help this team get to a national championship. And you obviously did that. So that's
yeah,
dope.
absolutely.
so you obviously played under Coach Lisa Bluter, and
Yeah.
she's legend, one of the best coaches of all time. Now they're transitioning to Coach Jan. How do you feel
Uh-huh.
that transition will go for them?
I mean, Coach Jay's absolutely amazing, and there's no one more deserving of that position than her. I don't think that the team's not going to miss a beat. I mean, she knows the game just as well as anyone. And I know that they have a few new pieces. Obviously, lost a little bit, and then obviously have Lucy Olson, a great transfer coming in.
Mhm.
A lot of talented freshmen. And so I know Coach Jay and the staff will find a way to put the pieces together. And I'm really excited, honestly, to watch them this season, especially with, the new teams joining the conference and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to watch them. And I know Coach Jay, she's amazing and she's gonna be great.
Did you know Jan Jensen was a bucket in her day? Did you know that?
Yeah.
I'm
Like what was it, like 50 points a game or something? What? Yeah. I learned that on my visit. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how is that even possible? Yeah.
I remember like a year and a half ago. Um, I I see her on the sideline and she's just such a bright personality. She's a light in any room,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
does.
and they they keep talking about Jan Jensen this, Jan Jensen that. I'm like, let me do some research because to be
Yeah.
this acclaimed, you have to have done something on the court, right? Look, and I
Yeah.
said, this is nuts. Jan Jensen was a bucket. Jan Jensen was a bucket. It was
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I was like, what?
yeah,
What are you talking about?
right there with you. I'm right
But,
there with you.
So yeah,
yeah.
so I mean, your experience at Iowa was great. You had a amazing 2 seasons there. But it kind of ended kind of sour, with you getting hurt at Ohio State or
Mm.
at Iowa, but the Ohio State game, last game of the regular
Yeah.
season. I was actually at that game. I was actually sitting right there when it happened. I'm glad I
Uh,
wasn't looking when it happened because I think I forgot who. Somebody just hit like a shot. I think they hit a three, and you stepped up just to like press the
yeah.
ball or something. Just
I think it might have been Kate. I think it was Caitlin. Yeah.
so I'm celebrating, I'm hyped, and I turn my head and I see you on the ground, and I'm like, no way, there's no way, like she's gonna get
Yeah.
up. It was crazy, it was like one of the best days of my life turned into one of the saddest days of my life,
Yeah.
like no way this is happening. But just tell us how difficult that was for you. I know I'm assuming it was really difficult, kind of ended your season. You did get the cool moment in the national championship where you got the
Yeah.
sub in, hoping you could play some minutes, but it didn't work out that way. But just tell us how difficult that was.
Yeah. I think that when I got injured, I didn't know the extent of my injury. So I got the MRI, like dislocated and fractured my patella. But there was no ligaments that were torn, or
Okay.
anything like that that needed immediate surgery. So they were like kind of giving me the option to, try and go out there and play. Because, it wasn't a season-ending injury. And so I had that in the back of my mind, like they gave me the option, so I'm gonna do anything that I can to try and get back out there. Um, so throughout the entire thing, it didn't really hit me because I'm like, I'm just trying to like get back. I'm trying to get back. So it wasn't until the very end, during the Final Four national championship. I think if I don't know if you saw the moment of like Coach Bluter and I sitting on the
Yeah, I saw the
bench.
moment.
Um,
Yes, I
I
saw. It
think
was
that's
sad.
kind of that's
Almost cried. Like
yeah.
I almost got to tears.
That's honestly when it kind of hit me of
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I don't think I'm gonna be able to get out here and play. Um, but I mean, throughout the entire thing, like I've had so many amazing, supporters and the group of people and the staff that was trying to help me get back out there. I mean, we tried absolutely everything for me to try and get back out there. I mean, I think my knee was drained twice. I had an injection. I was taped from my thigh to my ankle, like two braces on. So we were trying everything to try and get back out there, but obviously, unfortunately. It just didn't happen that way. But I think that like just supporting my teammates throughout that helped me. Um, and so obviously it was hard. And sometimes you kind of feel sorry for yourself, like, oh, like why me? But at the end of the day, what helped me was like pouring into my teammates and seeing my teammates' success out there on the court and having the support from the people behind me as well help me get through some of those low moments.
And it's crazy because now you've segued, like it's kind of like it prepped you, a small preparation to where you are now, as far as now you're
Yeah,
coaching, right? And it's like
yeah,
you started to see the game from a different angle, and like you said, pouring into your teammates, and now you're pouring into these young ladies.
yeah,
So I think that's amazing. That's a
yeah,
great perspective,
absolutely.
My
great way to
lasting image
reshift
will
that.
always be like how they carried her off the court. I was like, yeah, they carried her off like a G, man. Like Molly got
Yeah.
carried off like a queen. So I was like, that was hard. That was tough.
No, Jalen wanted to go and help out real quick.
Yeah,
Hey.
I almost ran on the court, bro. I was like, should I do it? But I didn't want to get out. But
Oh,
so what when did you make that decision like okay, I'm going to move over to coaching? Like how did that all come about? Cuz I know for everybody it's different. Like did you know like coming into like your last year like okay, I want to maybe coach after this? Like what happened?
yeah, I've always known like I love basketball so much and knew that I kind of wanted to be a part of it in some way. Didn't know what that was going to look like. And so obviously we have GAs on our team. And I knew that they have a really great experience in terms of not necessarily being a coach, but still getting those hands-on experiences. And I knew that Coach Reyna obviously helped me with this. So shout out again to Coach Reyna throughout this
Go.
entire process of, yeah. Being a GA, and she helped me figure out, what direction I wanted to go. And ultimately, I knew that I wanted to be involved in basketball. Um, whether that was, behind the scenes of like a Dobo, video coordinator, things like that, I didn't know. And so that's why I thought the GA route was going to be what's best for me because you kind of get your hands in a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
So that's why I chose to go that route.
Okay. So you're kind of at the point where you still don't know specifically where you want to go. You just know you want to be involved with basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. And where I'm at now at Evansville, thankful for Coach Robin for giving me the opportunity to be a part of her staff. But obviously being at a smaller university, you don't have as many resources as some of the Power Fives. So I'm really getting my hands in a lot of things and being involved in these meetings, these like coaching meetings. You don't really realize, what all goes into coaching behind the scenes of the X's and O's. But I'm like, man, you guys do all this? Like,
Yeah, that's
um,
crazy. And we got to
yeah,
get that Evansville schedule because we will definitely be popping out to a game this season.
yeah, absolutely. As soon as I think it might be in the next month or so.
Okay.
But yeah,
Definitely will be popping out for a game this season.
yeah, absolutely. But it's been a good experience so far. So,
That's dope, Molly. Los, that's all I had. Did you have anything else?
I don't. I know. I got a couple of rapid fire questions. Just
all
okay.
right, yeah,
Okay. Favorite food.
steak.
Steak. Okay. Favorite candy.
Ooh, Skittles, like
Ooh,
purple ones.
purple Skittles. Ooh,
Purple.
purple Skittles.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at this. Okay. Cool. 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 Would you rather, if you were a geographical researcher, would you rather spend a month in the forest or a month in the ocean?
Forest. I don't like the water.
Yeah,
Okay.
ocean is
Hate the
crazy.
water.
Okay. Hey, some people enjoy, the ocean water stuff. I'm good too. I'm good on the I'm
Not for
good on
me.
that.
Not for me.
Okay, okay. Sedan or SUV?
Sedan.
Okay, okay. Favorite color?
Red.
Okay, all right. And if you got to be any animal for a week, what animal would it be?
B.
Yeah,
B an animal?
yeah. If you got to be an animal for an entire week, what animal would that be?
I'd say any. This is probably lame, but any type of bird. I just want to know what it's like to fly. Honestly,
Honestly, mine's the eagle. So I'm right there with you. We can,
I'll go with a hawk.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Yeah,
that's a good way. That's a good way to go out with that
yeah,
one. That's a good way to go out. That's a good way to go out, man. But no, we
yeah,
appreciate you, Molly. You
yeah,
are you are amazing. You're
True
words
legend.
really can't I can't really put it into words, but no, you
Yeah.
you
yeah,
are you are one
Legend,
of
true
one,
legend.
Miss Molly Davis.
We truly appreciate you. This is an interview I was really looking forward to. I've been a big
yeah,
fan of yours for a while now. I know Hawkeye Nations are gonna really enjoy this one. We got to really get
yeah.
in depth with you, learn a little bit more about you. So we appreciate your time. This has been another one here with
Yeah.
your boys over on SSN, and just like that, we out.